There's also a hard and very hard modes that you can unlock by just holding down A and B and pushing start at the title screen. But I'm not doing those. So I'm going to be Yellow Owl this time. I'm pretty much just going in the order of their roll call positions. Red, black, yellow, white, blue. But unlike red and black, yellow is actually a different guy. He has a little bit less health and he has a crappier weapon. I really don't know what the incentive for being him is. I mean, there are a couple. I think he's a little bit stronger, maybe. I've used him before, and it seemed like he was destroying certain things in one hit that red and black were destroying in two, but I don't know. But again, I'm just, I'm picking yellow because of the variety of it. Yeah, the levels are fairly short. This is a very short game. I wouldn't expect this to, unless something really bad happens. I don't expect this to go above 3 parts, maybe 4 at the most. Because I'm just, as far as my recording stuff goes, I'm hitting like 12.5 minutes now, and I'm already in the 3rd level. I think we're almost done again. It's usually once you hit these warehouse areas that it's basically like, yeah, the boss is coming up. Hearts restore life, will restore 1 heart of life. They're also big hearts, but I don't know if they restore full life or just 2. I think they might restore maybe a little more than 2, but not quite full. I don't know. And this is the bus Jigen. Yeah, they had a bus monster. A lot of Super Sentai monsters are usually based off of mundane objects. Sometimes animals. And we've seen that. We don't need to see it again. The bus is a little bit more of a pain in the butt because he can if you actually launch your 2nd level like diagonal laser attack, he can jump that. The other ones don't bother, but he can do that. Why, Yoda. And they can do quite a bit of damage to you if you're not blocking their attacks, or at least their punching attacks. The bosses aren't very intuitive. You just basically have to block their shots if they're... I mean, this is the best way to do it, really, to guarantee your survival. And even then, it's not guaranteed. I may as well just be doing this the rest of the time. You'll have to rely on my awesome commentary to help fill in the gaps here. I mean, this is a pretty fun game. I'm not gonna go and say this is a bad game. This is a pretty fun game. Z-Ranger not so much. Yeah, Z-Ranger had a game too. But yeah, Z-Ranger, not that great of a game. This is a pretty good game, but not the other one. We're gonna be White Swan here. The first of the female characters. And the female characters use guns, as I said before. And the guns are weaker, but they're pretty much as effective as the other weapons because you can hit them multiple times before they get to you. Although I do find it a little disconcerting that they didn't make, like, separate sprites for the female characters because she's looking kind of butch. But it's the NES, so I can forgive that. Graphics are never a big issue for me. So, I mean, sometimes I can get to the point where the graphics are so bad that it makes my head spin, and I can't really play the game, but for the most part, graphics never have that big of an impact on me in games. You know, as far as the quote-unquote pretty factor goes, like that's what I call it anyway, so I'm quote-unquoting myself. As far as the pretty factor goes, you know, graphics and sound effects are pretty low on the spectrum compared to music. Music makes the bigger impact on me in that respect. But of course, you know, control and gameplay is probably the highest ranking thing as far as video games go. I don't see why people think that graphics are the most important thing in a game. I mean, if a game has great graphics but crappy gameplay, I mean, yeah, I can barely control my character because the controls are so bad, but look at how pretty it is. Substance over style. That's what I always say. I might not always say it. I mean, I never really use those exact words, but the premise is still the same. The premise of the sentence. I don't know if sentences can have premises, but yeah. I'm actually doing fairly well on this considering the lag. I thought the lag was going to be an issue, but, you know, like Baldur's Gate, I'm pretty much getting over it. Okay, this is Light Armadillo. At some point in the series, they stopped using the G-Gens, and they started combining animals with objects, and this is like one of the second waves of monsters, Light Armadillo. And, as you might expect, not too much different, really. I think he has like a rolling attack, which kind of makes him unique in some sort of respect, but yeah, that. Other bosses don't normally do that, but it's still just a block-happy time. Unlike there, where I tried to get cocky and actually punch him when he wasn't, you know. You should really only punch as a counterattack, but I should really take the strategy to heart a little more. I keep wanting to go forward and do that. I'd rather play it safe. I'm a defensive kind of guy. I mean, this is the sort of strategy that I would normally do. I guess I'm trying to liven it up a little bit. I mean, it'd be kind of... yeah, I know I've beaten the subject to death at this point, but... I mean, you don't want to see me just sit in a corner and watch me block stuff. I mean, you want to see me going all out on him, but... I'm going to try to take the smart route. Anyway, this is Blue Swallow. Again, because they didn't have a separate female sprite, she looks a little butch. And yes, I know it's not exactly a super common occurrence, but in this particular show, the Blue Ranger was a female. And the Yellow Ranger is a male, but then again, Yellow Rangers being males, not that rare of an occurrence in Super Sentai. A lot of the, I mean, of course you probably knew this by now, but a lot of the Yellow Rangers that were depicted in Power Rangers were actually males. The original Zeo Ranger, the Yellow Ranger in that was a male. And hell, the character's name was even Boy. Which I find that hilarious, but... Then again, I'm weird in that respect. And also the Yellow Ranger is usually like, I mean, they all usually kind of have roles as far as like filling out roles as far as colors go. Like, for example, the red is usually the leader, or at the very least the field leader. There have been a couple times where the actual leader of the team was like the female character, like Kaku Ranger, the white Ranger was a female, and she was the actual leader. And Time Ranger, the Pink Ranger, was actually the leader, but the Red Ranger fills like a field command role. And then there are other teams where there really isn't a leader; they all kind of just work as a team. But again, like Red seems to give commands a lot of the time. Green or Black, they're usually like the strong guy type. Blue is usually like an intelligence kind of guy. Yellow can sometimes be the strength guy, but sometimes is just the like the younger, more inexperienced people. And then, you know, you got Pink or White is usually the female, and in much like stereotypical Japanese fashion, fills female roles, I guess.